What's your dream job? What's your dream career? I remember getting those questions asked to me all the time when I was a kid. And it continued through into like middle and high school. That was something adults love to ask you is what's your dream job? What's your dream career? Dude, I don't have one. My dream job is no job. My dream career is working for myself. I don't have some company where it's like, oh man, I really want to work for this company, man. That'd be so cool if they hired me, man. I could say I worked there. No, dude, are you out of your mind? My dream job is to be unemployed. Not to not work, but I want to be employed by myself. I do not want to have any job, no matter how cool it is or how prestigious or well paying it is, if it means I have to give up all of my time and freedom to work and sit there and stare at a computer. That is actually one of the most distressing and terrible things I can think of right now. So if you watched my previous video, I made this channel kind of document my process of I'm trying to become self-employed in the next year because I just absolutely hate the corporate jobs and the 9 to 5, and I just find the idea of doing that for the next 40 years to be completely and utterly terrifying and mortifying. And so I'm going to try to do everything in my power to avoid that. But it's really bizarre to me that it's almost like we condition kids since they're young to have this idea of, oh, I'm gonna go get a job, I'm gonna go get a career, etc. You ask this little kid, oh, what's your dream job? And he tells you, and from the get-go, he has it implicitly in his brain that he's supposed to go work a traditional 9 to 5 job. And frankly, maybe I'm just crazy, but that seems like hell to me. Like, why would you do that? The reward is just not there. Personally, I don't see where the reward is. You talk about investing and saving for retirement. People don't retire until they're in their like 60s or 70s. What is the point of that? Why would I even save money for retirement if I'm just gonna retire and live the rest of my life when I'm old? Maybe I get a couple of years to enjoy it, and then my health will start to degrade and I'll have to spend that money keeping myself alive in perpetuity. That's why the healthcare industry is doing so well right now. Like, that just seems so backwards. Does anybody else think that's crazy? Like, oh wow, I've got 100K in my 401K and they're matching this amount. And dude, like, wake up. You're gonna work for 40 years and then then my 401K I can do a 5% withdrawal every year, and then it's like, dude, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't see how people can find that to be an acceptable trade. How is trading the best years of your life, your youth, and all the years when you have the most going for you, you're the most healthy, you're the most able to retire at the end of your life when you're old and sick and feeble and be able to live comfortably and donate all the money that you ended up saving to keep yourself alive with healthcare? That's like the craziest deal ever, but everybody's taking it. And they're not taking it probably because they want to. They're taking it because they feel like they have to, and there's no other option. But me personally, that shit's not gonna work for me, dude. I don't know what's gonna happen. Either I'm gonna figure out a way to get self-employed, or I'm gonna figure out an unconventional route. But that is just not a path that I'm going to go down. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like the reward, the effort to reward ratio is just non-existent. If you're going to put in so much effort every day, 8+ hours, and you add in the commute and all of that, and just to barely get compensated to have like a salary that you can subsist off of, and maybe you tuck a little money away so you hope in 40 years you'll be able to retire and enjoy yourself for a little bit, dude, that's a horrible deal. Like, I'm not going to take that deal. Really, there's the economic aspect of it, but there's also the fact that it just completely takes all of your time and freedom away. Like, how many people really have the time to pursue a passion or a project or an interest outside of work who are working these super draining long hours at a corporate job? It's pretty much nobody, and that's by design. But I have things I want to do. I have projects and plans and ambitions, and if working a 9 to 5 is going to be something that prevents that from happening, then I've already made my decision. I'm not going to work a 9 to 5. I don't know how I'm going to avoid it. Right now my plan is to be self-employed, but somehow, dude, I'm going to figure out a way so that that doesn't happen to me, because I've had enough exposure with it to know that if I do this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, God forbid 40 years, I will actually go nuts. And, I don't know how most people don't go nuts. I think a lot of people just try to numb themselves to it. They consume media. A lot of people consume food. A lot of people are on antidepressants. That's something that I've found out. I never realized how many people are medicated until you start to, people overshare, and then you find out, like, dude, a crazy amount of people are on antidepressants, and that's not normal. That says something maybe about the way that our society is configured, that it's not conducive to human flourishing. But really, well, what I'm getting at is that, I did my degree in applied math, and so I started writing out, I started doing the calculations of just, what would it take to sustain a, like a nice, comfortable lifestyle if you're working as a, you're doing like a white collar 9 to 5 job. And the math just was not adding up, dude. For the amount of effort that you have to put in, the reward is just simply not proportional to the amount of effort that you put in to make it make sense at all. And I think really one of the most blackpilling things that I realized was that even the super smart people that are way smarter and way more hardworking than me, are still trapped in the same 9 to 5. They're just making a little bit more money. Like, I know someone who just did a PhD. He's a really smart guy, great guy, but he goes into industry and he starts working in industry, and the amount that he's getting paid, if it's like for an entry level position, dude, there's no way, like, that's the craziest deal ever. If you do 6 years working on a PhD just to make the same or just slightly more than other people that did a bachelor's or a master's, that's crazy. I don't know. That seems like a really bad deal. So, point of advice number 1 would probably be don't do a PhD. But it just seems like unless you're working on a project or a business for yourself where you're in control of where it goes, then really doesn't matter how hard you work. It seems like your success is bounded, and it's bounded to a point where you're never really going to have enough freedom to stop working entirely and pursue what you love. So whether you're barely making it by as like a DoorDasher, or you're one of these white collar people making like $150K a year. By the way, $150K a year does not go that far when you're in a city like Los Angeles or New York. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still definitely way above average, but people think of $150K as like a crazy amount. But when you think about how expensive it is to live in these big cities, it really starts to get cut down pretty quickly. But the whole point I'm getting at is that I just, I never understood how people could accept the incentive structure of a 9 to 5. And I understand most people don't actively accept it. It's kind of imposed on them and they feel like they don't have a way out of it. But what I don't understand is, why aren't there more people like me that read the room and see what's going on and are like, yeah, this is fucking nuts. I'm not signing up for this. I'm going to figure out a way to get out of the system and, have my success and my well-being and my income and my livelihood be in my hands and not in somebody else's hands. That seems like, to me, really the only logical conclusion from the situation that we're being posed with. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe just psychologically I'm not, what's the right word? Maybe my psychology is just not compatible with the 9 to 5 because I'm too interested in creative endeavors and building my own things and having the freedom to pursue what I'm interested in. But I just don't know if I believe that. I feel like a lot of people do have their own ambitions and dreams and they want to see it happen, but they just sort of surrender and they accept the security and the stability of a 9 to 5 and they let those dreams slowly sort of fade into the background. And that's incredibly sad to me, but I'm not willing to surrender like that. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that doesn't happen to me. And I don't know what the odds are. I don't care what the odds are. Like Han Solo said, never tell me the odds. Dude, I don't care what the odds are. I'm going to figure it out. I've done some really hard things in my life, and I know that if I just grind at this, in my mind, I know I can succeed. Right now that success isn't right in front of me, but I know I can make it happen. But I don't know, do you guys understand where I'm coming from? Am I alone on this? Am I just crazy? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy because all of my friends, I just graduated this last year in May, and a lot of my friends are starting to work their corporate 9-to-5 jobs, and they're like telling me about how, oh, it's cool, dude. I get to play pickleball after work. Dude, fuck pickleball. Are you kidding? How dismal is your life that the thing that you look forward to is playing pickleball after work? That seems so bad. I have ambitions beyond playing pickleball after work, dude. That's not going to work for me. I'm sorry. I hope it really does make them happy. I hope they're not silently suffering and keeping it to themselves. But dude, that's not going to work for me. We're going to have to figure something else out. But yeah, the whole point of this video and what I really started it with was the whole thing of what's your dream career? Dude, my dream career is not to have one. My dream job is not to have one. It's not that I want to be unemployed. It's not that I want to be a bum. I just want to be working on stuff for myself, whether it's a business or whatever project it is. I want the effort that I'm putting in every day and the hours that I'm burning every day to be going towards something that is in service of me and my goals and my ends. And furthermore, I want it to be something where if I'm building a business, at that point, if the business succeeds, then there's unbounded potential for how I could be rewarded monetarily. There's unbounded potential for where that could take me in life. If I work at a company and I work really hard and I do a whole lot of good things for the company could do great, but I'm not going to do as well proportionally. Only thing you could hope for is maybe they offer you stocks and it's a startup and the startup like 10x's or 100x's and you have a big stock portfolio. But really, that's the only instance I can think of where it makes sense to put in that level of effort and commitment into a company. It just, I don't know. It really seems like these companies do not care about you at all. No, novel, crazy realization, but they really do not care about you at all. There was some person at Xbox that got let go a couple weeks ago. They were at Xbox for like 37 years or something crazy, and they just got fired out of nowhere. Like, no notice, no nothing, like, you're gone, buddy. If that's the way companies treat people that invest that much time into them, I don't want to work for a company, period, dude. I'd rather be out there in Alaska where they're doing deep sea fishing. Have you guys seen Deadliest Catch? I'd rather be out there doing something stimulating and vitalizing, like being out there on the fucking boat catching shrimp or whatever it is they do. Because at least then I know that there's some value in what I'm doing. There's some interest. But sinking 37 years into a career and then they just slap you and fire you and say, "See ya, buddy, you're gone," that is crazy to me, and it's happening more and more often. I don't see. I don't see how the math lines up. The 9-to-5, maybe there was a time during my parents' generation where it was a good deal, but it's not a good deal for us, dude. And maybe I'm alone in this, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm just not willing to accept it. And I'm going to find a way to decline it and do my own thing. That's what this whole channel is about. That's what I'm trying to do. So, yeah, that's where this is going. By the way, I don't want to shill, but I am trying to make some stuff happen, and so I need to offer something of value. I have a math tutoring business. I do high school, test prep, and university level math. If you need help in math, book a consultation with me. Let's figure something out. This is the offer that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to offer some good value. So go to www.kuehrtutoring.com. That's KUEHR tutoring.com. If you need help in math, let me help you out, dude. Let's get to work. I think the link will be in the description too. Have a good one, guys.